What up? Hey, what up? What up? Hey, what up? What up? Hey, what up? Hey, what up?
What up, though, Field G's, and welcome back to Luke G's Field Review. We are back at it again, this time with a video, just doing something a little bit different. Now, let me know if y'all like this or you don't like it, but I wanted to just be able to kind of chat it up with you. So a lot has been happening with the Detroit Lions, and the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that they released quarterback Connor Cook. Now, stay with me for a moment. This is not shocking to me, and I think the reason why it's not shocking to me is because it's clear that the competition and how they're viewing it needs to match up. So you may be wondering, Luke, what does that mean? What that means is this. Every time you heard about those interceptions going down, many of them were coming from Connor Cook. When you heard the media talking about the earned strength of Tom Savage, they were already trying to find a way to push Cook out the door. Sometimes you have to be able to listen to the negativity and find the diamond in the rough in terms of information. Here's what I figured out. It doesn't matter who the backup is. Stafford is going to play. And the truth is, the backup position is one that you definitely want to address. However, it's about having competition. And the fact that they released Connor Cook and picked up a quarterback, David Fales, was more to show that Connor Cook probably wasn't picking up on things fast enough. Now, is that an indictment on Connor Cook? No. However, it does let you know that the Lions are dead serious about people being in the building who can handle the workload of the job. And it's simple. First things first, all right? Why are we acting like we shocked about things like this? Did y'all really want Connor Cook to be in the game? For me, this is easy. Connor Cook came in with a chance to show himself. And in 3 OTAs, he served the ball up. And that's just part of the why they released him. It wasn't like he was on a huge contract. But for the strangest thing, you can't let the guy who came in after you show you up. And one of the things that you want to see from your quarterback is, how do they face competition? How do they face, adversity? And if they're not facing adversity, then it doesn't even matter. But what can happen is, they crumble under the pressure of it. Okay? And that's what it sounded like Connor Cook did. Now, some of y'all gonna say, nah, Luke, you wrong. Fine. You want to make Luke wrong? Let's make Luke wrong. Luke just gonna tell you based on facts. Okay? Don't start bringing up, oh, he gonna make it to the practice squad and all that stuff. No. Bob Quinn has told us many times that they may have a player in who have been a part of the team for a day or two, and they just become a part of the evaluation process. So he's going to get stored into that evaluation process. Does that mean he's going to make the practice squad? I don't think so. And if you Connor Cook, do you really want to be on the practice squad after being at least a backup on all these different rosters? Somebody's going to pick him up and give him a chance, okay? Now, with that being said, let's get into this this wide receiver Kearse for a minute, man. Let's talk about Kearse, all right? One of the reasons I want to talk about him is because there's a lot of talk. Now, on the round table, last time I checked, I went through and I asked everybody, do you think he's making the team? And everybody went through and said yes or no. I was the only no. I'm almost sure I was the only no. And the reason I was the only no is because, not that they didn't know what they were talking about, but I think they were looking at it and saying, hey, this guy can bring some value to the team. Whereas for me, I was looking at it and saying that in order for him to make the team, it means that somebody else got to not be on the team. Okay? And who was really finna you know, give up that spot? And who would you want to give up that spot? And I think what they're looking at is for their 4th to 5th receiver to be kind of a guy who they can groom and stay on the low end. If, let's say, Kearse come in and he do well, cool. But then lo and behold, here go Detroit Free P or Detroit News coming out with an article saying that the best receiver on the Lions is Jemraine Kearse. And then they follow that up with, but he may not make the team. Now, to me, I believe he was brought in for one thing and one thing only. Competition. Okay? And as a security blanket in case these other receivers have any type of nagging injuries. Then he'll make the team. But if Kenny Galladay is healthy, if Marvin Jones is healthy, he's not making the team. Jemraine Kearse won't make the team. The amount of money they paid Danny Amendola, he's going to be on the team. Okay? And when you go through and you look at what they paid Jemraine Kearse, most of his contract is incentive laced. What's the best way to not have a person meet $2.7 million? He don't make the team. He gets his little $500,000 or whatever they offer him at that point, and he go about his day. Now, these are the things that stand out to me. Okay, these are the things that I look at as a football connoisseur. I'm looking to see those little things that are presenting itself, like what is really happening when they happen. Okay, and what I mean by that is, don't, just because a person gets signed does not mean that he's making a team. You have to be able to see the role that he plays in making a team. Okay, and for me, when I saw Kearse, I saw him as a guy who's there in case somebody gets hurt. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just simply saying that if ain't nobody hurt, why are we bringing this dude in? Competition. Simple and put. Competition. Okay? And the reason for that competition is always going to remain the same. They want to make sure that they got certain things covered. Which brings me to my next point. Because I think what you're going to find is that this point was sparked by a very interesting message that I got from one of my subs. And I'm not trying to put the sub on blast. I think he had a point, but I think his view is a little different. Okay. And this particular point goes out to Freddie Matthews, who commented on my Eric Ebron video. Well, actually it was my Stafford tight end connection video. But what he said is, "You were slappy. Wow. How did Ebron do last year? 13 touchdowns, first team All-Pro. Shaking my head. This dude need 10 number 1 picks on offense." He then follows that message up with, "So with all the love for the 4th ranked quarterback in the NFC in the North, funny how Ebron had 11 TDs in Detroit, but 1 year with the real quarterback, he had 13 touchdowns and a first team All-Pro and Pro Bowl nod. And TJ played against weak talent in the Big Ten. Noah was the real talent." Now, Freddie Matthews, since you brought this up, let's really talk about it, bro. Let's really talk about it. Let's keep it 100 and let's talk about it, okay? This is what people do. Either Freddie is really a Lions fan and he's just misinformed, okay? Or Freddie is not a Lions fan and he's trolling. Either way, I respect all people and I'm going to address them all the same. So his whole argument is Eric Ebron was so much better with a real quarterback, because Andrew Luck's a real quarterback, right? Now here's what I find funny about that. Okay? And I'm going to give a few points. And the reason I'm going to give a few points is because I want people to really understand the logic behind this. So let's talk about what Freddie was right about. Freddie was right that Eric Ebron only had 11 touchdowns his entire career with the Detroit Lions. He is right about that, okay? Freddie is even right about him making a Pro Bowl, okay? He's right about that. But now let's talk about where Freddie was wrong. So last year, Eric Ebron played with the Indianapolis Colts. And if anybody watched any Colts game, you would see that the way that they used him, he was kind of used almost like Jimmy Graham, where they would line him out at wide receiver. They would, scheme plan, to put him in the best position to make catches and so forth and so on. So let's just go ahead and be honest about this, people. Okay? This real quarterback we talking about. Okay? That's what we talking about here. He played in 16 games with the Colts. He started 8 of those games. He was targeted 110 times with the Colts. He caught 66 of those passes. That's a 60% catch ratings, okay? He got 750 yards. He had 11.4 yards per catch, okay? And he did have 13 touchdowns, with his longest being 53, okay? Now, here's the thing I want y'all to pay attention to, people. If you go to his best season with the Detroit Lions, his best season with the Detroit Lions came in 2016. He played in 13 games, and he started all 13 of those games. Okay? He had 85 targets. 85 targets versus the 110 he had his first year. Okay? So let's just put this in perspective, people. I mean, that's all we're trying to do anyway, right? We're just trying to put everything in perspective. He had 110 catches with the Indianapolis Colts, all right? And his best season with the Detroit Lions, he had 85 targets. So you're talking about 110 targets with the Colts, 85 with his best season. So 25 more targets with the Colts. 25 more. That's significant. All right. He caught 61% of his 85. That was his best year. That's a 71.8%. 71.8% in 2016 versus his 1 year and ending with a 60% catch rate. Now you may be saying, Luke, but I thought you said he dropped passes. That's what you're going to say, right? Oh, he did. Don't get it twisted. He dropped passes. But this is how we're going to show you how this all breaks down. Just stay with me. He has 750 yards with the Indianapolis Colts. 711 yards with Detroit in his best season. He had 1 touchdown that year, 13 by the Colts. You may be saying, well, Luke, what's the difference? The difference is this. In his best season with the Detroit Lions, he had 54.7 yards a game versus 46.9. But Luke, he was targeted so many more times. We know what's going on with this picture. Well, here's what's going on with this picture. In terms of targeting in his best season, he was targeted 8.4 times a game versus 6.8 with the Colts. So he was targeted 0.1 times than 2017. Okay? And what this tells me is this. Eric Ebron numbers literally did not change. The way they use Eric Ebron changed. That's not a quarterback issue. That is coaching. Okay? Why am I bringing this up? Because people insist on saying false information. So how do you kill that? Well, if the argument is this, that, oh, Stafford is not a real quarterback and that's why Eric Ebron didn't shine, then I ask you this. How does Jimmy Graham leave the Saints, go to the Seattle Seahawks, and make the Pro Bowl? But he leaves the Seahawks, leaves the Saints, 2 teams where he made the Pro Bowl, and go over to the Green Bay Packers and have the season he had. Does that make Aaron Rodgers inept? Does that make Aaron Rodgers not a real quarterback? I just want to know where the logic is at on this, people. When do we start being fair about the little things? I'm just wondering this. Why is Jimmy Graham not Jimmy Graham with Aaron Rodgers? Last time I checked, he's a bad man. That boy a bad man. That's what I keep hearing. That's what they keep telling me. That he's a bad man. But he goes over to Green Bay and looks horrible. Looks horrible. Now you may be saying, well, Luke, how bad was it? Okay. He played in 16 games, started 12. He was targeted 89 times. He caught 55 of them. That's 61.8%. He was targeted 7.1 times a game. He had 2 touchdowns and 11.6 yards receiving per catch. So on his 55 receptions that he got, 636 yards. Right? And you say, well, Luke, what's wrong with that? Look at the numbers prior to that. Seattle, 2017, he was targeted 96 times. 2016, 95 times. 2015, his first season, where he played 11 games. 11 games with Russell Wilson, his first season, he was targeted 74 times, caught 48% of those, 605 yards, 12.6 yards average per game, per catch, 2 touchdowns, and, yes, I said and, he was averaging 55.6 yards a game, catching with a catch radius of 64.9. He was getting a whole whopping 8.2 targets a game. He get over there with Aaron Rodgers and don't even look like the same Jimmy Graham. Does that mean Aaron Rodgers is terrible? So I'm just saying, Freddie, you can say those things, but make sure you know Luke is looking. He paying attention. So let's kind of fast forward a little bit and switch it up a little bit, all right? I want to talk about something a little bit different because I'm trying to put to bed a lot of these different topics as it pertains to the Lions. And I'm going to be doing these type of videos throughout the week so that way you can be able to have something to listen to and either agree or disagree. It doesn't make me a difference, okay? Being able to have good dialogue, whether it's agreeable or not, is what I look for. Constructive conversation. So what does that mean for you? Okay, that means that I'm going to do my best to still produce the same videos that I've always produced. Work schedule is a little bit different, but we're going to make this thing work. So now let's talk about something that I want to bring up, okay? I'm seeing some news that says that Martin Mayhew, that's right, Martin Mayhew, the former general manager of the Detroit Lions, has a lot of interest from the Houston Texans. Now, Martin Mayhew is currently working a front office job with the 49ers. But I find it interesting that Martin Mayhew is getting ready to get a chance for a general manager. And to who? The Houston Texans. Now, here's what I find interesting about this. How can you look at what that man did in terms of his drafting, in terms of how he hired people, and say, yep, that's the GM I'm looking at. That's who I'm targeting. How can you look at the history of Martin Mayhew and want him in your clubhouse? Tell me this, okay? Who did he really draft when he wasn't drafted in the top 5? No, that pause, that's an hour wait. Who did he draft, okay, that wasn't in the top 5? Help me, help you, help me. I'm trying to figure out, why would you want this guy, Houston? Okay? Why? Why would you even consider this guy? Okay? There is nothing about this guy that reads winner. You know, there's nothing about this guy that reads he knows his job. If anything, this might be the reason they want him. They figure he got all his mistakes out with the Lions. Okay? And if that's the case, we really in trouble. Because who wants that? Okay? But let's just go ahead and think about this. With the Detroit Lions in 7 seasons, he was 41-79. 41-79. Why would you want that guy on your team? Why? It's amazing to me how these things occur. So let's go back and review. We got Connor Cook getting released and replaced with David Fales. Really, Connor? Really? We got Jemraine Kearse signing with the Detroit Lions, and we got the Detroit Free Press basically already starting the witch hunt, talking about he's the best receiver on the team. And he ain't gonna make it. Like, when did Jemraine Kearse become better than Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones based on what we do scheme-wise? Really, Detroit Free Press? Really, Dave? Was it Burkett? All right. And then we got Freddie telling me that Eric Ebron went to a real quarterback, but not understanding that they schemed Eric Ebron into their offense. Don't believe me? Go and look at his targets. 110 targets. Lions ain't never threw the ball to him that many times. The opportunity that they gave him should have been first downs. I ain't even get into his first down because I ain't want to do it. And we can prove that just because a player had one good season don't mean nothing. Let's see what Eric Ebron do this year. They're going to scheme him into the offense again. Okay? And then we get to Martin Mayhew getting ready to have an opportunity to be a general manager. Y'all gotta stop this, man. Are we gonna do this for real? Are we gonna do this for real? Do I really care if Martin Mayhew go over to the Houston Texans? Nope. I guess my real thing was, how many years has he been away from the Detroit Lions before he's getting another shot at general manager? Like, if he was any good, you think he would have been away out of the general manager game as long as he's been out of? He was like in like football operations with the 49ers. You feel me? In other words, we need you to do a few things, like help people with contracts and get them settled in. And here come the Houston Texans with Deshaun Watson talking about we finna make him your general manager. Like, one of the best things a general manager can do is be able to get people signed with fair contracts. Who did he get signed with a fair contract? Did I miss it? Am I confused about this? Maybe I'm the one who wrong about this. Maybe I'm the one who just don't get it. Maybe I'm lost. But help me understand, how is it possible that we as Lions fans are so quick and ready to fire a general manager that we have that's good, when we can look at the evidence and see that these people who are leaving this team aren't even getting jobs elsewhere? Okay? The Colonel from KFC, he's the running back coach for the Jets, which I find ironic, seeing as how he didn't run the ball here in Detroit. Jim Schwartz, I thought he was okay to be for the most part, but he's certainly a better coordinator. And what? He still ain't been given a head coaching job. Oh, you want to tell me because the Lions is that bad? Well, here, the Dolphins were so bad that they got rid of Gase. He had a job within the next few weeks. Like, come on, people. We got to wake up. All right? We got to wake up and we got to stop with all the crazy talk. Okay? I'm going to be dropping podcasts similar to this just to kind of get into the groove of it, because my schedule's a little bit more restricted. So when I'm doing my research and I'm putting in my time, it's because I'm trying to make sure, I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting you the right information. That's the word I want to use. But that's not where I want to stop at. You got people like former Detroit Lions running back Kevin Smith trying to be a coach. And why did the Lions take him that year? Because he broke Barry Sanders' college record. Oh, Lord Jesus. We can't write this stuff, people. We can't. We can't write it. I mean, here's the thing, people. Here's the thing. The Detroit Lions are going to have their hands full with a lot of things this season. And the best thing we can do as fans is watch the game, not based on results, but watch the game based on the facts. Watch the game based on parts. You see, it's like the human body. You take one major part out and everything else stops. You know what I mean? Take out the heart, body shuts down. Take out the brain, body shuts down. Sever the spinal cord, body could shut down, but for the most part, these are the things that I'm referring to. You need to be able to look at all parts, special teams, offense, defense, the offensive line, the tight ends, the receivers, the quarterback, the running back, the DN, the linebackers, the D tackles, the cornerback, the safeties, the kicker, the punter, and most importantly, the head coach, the coordinators. Because those are going to be the same ones that's going to determine whether we win or lose. Okay? Those are going to be the ones who determine what this team is going to be. Those are our headlines as of June 10th. Those are my thoughts on them. I'll have more at the round table. But just for the moment, I just want to give y'all some food for thought, man. The Detroit Lions is finally doing business like a real organization. And if you're not excited about that, then stand up, go to any mirror, the nearest one to you, look at that person in front of you, and see if you can slap them. Because the Detroit Lions are starting to do things the way that they should be done. That's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Please hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. Let me know if you like this new format. If you don't like it, let me know if I should keep it, get rid of it, whatever the case may be. You know, but as always, I leave you with this great piece of advice. Don't be no chump. Please do your research.